Okay, so back to the game in this second part of the sort of short videos I'm doing on this game I had against J.Rowson. I had the black pieces here, so we reached this middle game position, and in this position I captured on e4. Now this is a mistake. As soon as I played this move, I realised that it was probably a mistake. I mean, a much more dynamic solution to the position here would have been pawn to a5. We'll come back to what I played in a minute, but the idea is pawn to a5 is to really kick white's queen away from the square on b4, so force it to a more active square. I mean, I was a bit worried about giving the b5 square up here, but it doesn't actually matter that much. I mean, my counterplay along the f file is much more important. For example, the game would have got very messy now after queen to a3. F takes e4, and compared to the game, white's queen is very bad on a3. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, f takes e4, and now rook takes f2. Now this is my normal idea against this play. I mean, I have to try to create some counterplay in dark squares quickly. For example, now play continue king takes f2. If white plays rook takes f2 here, then I expect I can just play bishop to e3. And this pin on the rook's going to be very unpleasant for white. So king takes 2, the critical variation, and now I could continue a queen to b6 check, which is a move I didn't have in the previous variation, or in maybe the game continuation, because white's queen would be on b4. So you can see how the move a5 has helped out black a lot. And then after something like king to e1, maybe I can go bishop to f8 here, with some pretty good chances that my idea is to go d5 and bishop to b4, and white's king's a bit exposed on e1. I mean, I'd imagine that black's got good compensation for the exchange here. Let's just take a look at one line. I mean, let's say white moves his rook to f2, d5, and then let's say he takes on f8. I'd take back, he goes c5. I think this is an important move. It's a good move to stop queen to f2. Now the queen comes back around to d8. And I'm coming over to h4 with some decent counterplay. For example, if white takes on d5, I go bishop to g4. If he takes bishop, queen to h4 check, wins the bishop back. So very interesting position anyway. So after castles, this a5 move would have been a big improvement. I actually played f takes e4, which is a big mistake. And in the game, I was getting quite worried that what I'd do if white just took back on e4 with his knight. My opponent played a mistake as well. He took on c5 with his bishop, which is just clearly an error. I mean, knight takes at e4 was worrying. I mean, more my opponent thought about this position, the more confident I was getting actually, because I'd imagine if he's going to play knight takes e4, he'd play it immediate. I mean, I'd probably have to go a5, and then just defend the position after queen to c3. This is the difference why I should have played a5 earlier, because white's queen doesn't have the option of coming back to c3. And now, for example, after knight takes e4, f takes e4, I have to play a position with rook to c6, which, I don't know, it just looks a bit better for white. I've always got this problem on the d file, and I would not have been happy playing this position. I mean, so I was very happy after f takes e4. My opponent decided to play bishop takes c5, which is, I don't know, enters some complications that I don't think white should be entering. I mean, this is definitely a dubious move. I mean, now I just simply took back on c5. Taking on f3 is a mistake, because after bishop takes f3, white's got very good control of this d5 square, and I don't allow him to do this. So taking on c5 is quite complicated. Okay, I'm threatening white's queen, but so taking on d8 would be a mistake for white, because I can take the queen on b4, and we reach an ending where my dark square bishop's very strong. I mean, the main thing to remember about this position, and the main positive thing about black, is this dark square bishop can enter the game via e3 and then around to d4. And if I can get my dark square bishop into d4, it's going to be an extremely powerful piece. So this is really one of the main sort of themes in this middle game, my dark square bishop. If I can get this into the game, into d4, I'm going to have a very promising position. My opponent played queen takes b7, and now I played a good move, queen to a5. I'm not sure if my opponent missed this move or not. The point being, if he goes knight takes e4, which he'd love to play, I can just trap the queen with rook to c7, which is completely winning. So in this position, I'm threatening knight on c3, so there's no way that white can capture on e4 comfortably. Now, my opponent played knight to d5 here, which is the only logical move. And in this position, I had a long think. I had two critical moves here. The move I played, queen takes a2, and rook to f7 was the other move. Now, I thought rook to f7 would lead to a draw here. After rook to f7, the play takes on quite a forcing nature. I mean, knight to e7 is not really possible, so I just go king to f8, and I'm pinning the knight to the queen. So really, white has to play queen to b6, so then we'd enter, I mean, I calculated in the game that I could just take knight takes, then play rook to c6, attacking the knight on b6, then after knight to d5, I thought I could just capture on d5. If rook takes, my bishop comes around to d4. If pawn takes, then I go e takes f3, which is a good move. And if bishop f3, then bishop to e3 check, king to h1, rook to d6. And this position looks totally drawn to me. I mean, I put my bishop on d4. I'm certainly in no danger of losing here. I mean, opposite colored bishop should be quite an easy draw. So this is one option. But I was quite confident about my position around here, and I thought, well, let's go for a win. We might as well try going for a win. But I actually made a mistake in my calculations. So instead of winning, I should be losing. I mean, I played queen takes a2. A bit risky anyway, to say the least. Knight to e7 check, critical. King to e8, h8. And now queen takes e4. Taken on c8, I don't think it was possible. I think I was just going to play queen takes e2 here, and white's king is very exposed because I'm putting the knight on c8 next move. Queen takes e4 is definitely the critical move, and now I banged out bishop to f5 in the game, and I think the speed I played this really shocked Rowson, because in this position my opponent actually has a win we both missed. The best move here, after bishop to f5, my opponent played queen takes e5 check, which is a losing move. The best move here is queen to h4, which is really just a great move. A move I missed. I mean, I thought in this position I could just go bishop to e3 check, king to h1, queen takes e2. But actually, well, in this position, white can just go knight takes c8. And white's winning here. For example, if I go rook takes c8, there's always a pin on the e file I'm going to run into. It's like queen s6 check, king g8, queen takes e5. And I can't stop white from playing rook to e1 next and taking on e3. So he's going to be exchanged up with a completely winning position. So after bishop f5, queen to h4, bishop to e3 check. What happens if I capture on c8 with my bishop? Which is the other possibility. Well, now white moves his queen to e4, and he has the same idea. He just goes rook to e1 next move and wins my bishop on e3. So after bishop f5, queen h4 would just seem to be a winning move. Pretty amazing, really. Another option here was knight takes f5, but then I was very comfortable after pawn takes, queen d3, rook to b1, rook to b8, sorry, and if rook to b1, then rook to d8, with a winning position for me. I mean, it's a very complicated position, but my opponent played queen takes e5 check, which is just a mistake. I went bishop g7, and now my opponent played queen d6. If queen to e3, I just go rook on ce8. I'm going to win the knight on e7. This pin is just too powerful. Bishop f6 is going to follow. So queen to d6, okay, and now I just take on e2. My opponent takes on c8, queen e3 check, king h1, rook to c8. Queen takes a6, and my opponent rather cheekily offered me a draw here. I always find it a bit cheeky if my opponent offers you a draw when it's clearly that you're doing quite well here. I was quite confident I was doing well here, but I did seem to mess it up quite quickly, so maybe the draw offer was quite a good draw offer. I mean, we're move 29 now, and we're both in time trouble in the next 5 moves or so, hence our following bad play. I played rook to e8 here. I mean, the whole point that my position is so good is that my bishop's just so much more powerful than white's rooks. White can never activate his rooks because his back rank's going to be too weak, whilst my bishops can come to good squares. So let's see how the game continues. Queen to b5, bishop to d4. Nice move, controlling d file. Pawn to b4, bishop to c2. Just putting the white rook on a worse square, and now the bishop comes to d3. Rook to g1. Now rook to e7. Now this is all okay so far. I'm moving the rook out of an attack from the white queen. Pawn takes c5, and now I've started to go wrong with queen to f4. I think I should just play bishop takes c5 here. Just keep it simple, because the c pawn actually became a bit of a threat, and I can always just build up my position for later on. But queen to f4 allowed queen to b6, which is a very strong move. A move that I missed. White's threatening queen to d8 check, so I have to do something about this. I played king to g7, and now the white queen comes to d6, and all of a sudden I've allowed white back into the game. His queen's centralised, and I've got some problems here. The move I should play, I mean, I had about 5 minutes left here, and I really wanted to play rook to e5 here. This would have been a really good move. My idea here was to play bishop to f2 and queen takes h2 with checkmate to follow. For example, if white had played rook to g1, I go bishop to e2. I want to avoid any exchanges, rook to c2, now bishop to f2. And if rook takes e2, very nice finish with queen to h2, check, king takes h2, rook to h5, mate. So, I mean, time trouble, anything can happen in time trouble. I went back to e3, and now my opponent played rook c e1. I was more worried about rook d1 at the time, when maybe I have to take a draw even with rook e6, which is a bit pathetic, but rook to e1 was a mistake. After bishop e2, c6, bishop c5, queen d5. Now I played a horrible move. It was move 39. I just wanted to play one more move to reach time trouble, so I banged out rook to e5. Hoping for queen d7, rook e7 to reach the time trial. But my opponent can now play c7. And after the game, the most shocking thing is that Jonathan showed me this variation, and he said he was playing for a win here, so this is why I didn't play it, because he thought the resulting position after rook takes queen, pawn takes queen, queen to e8, we enter quite a forcing line here, and after we reached this position here, he thought the position was drawn, so he didn't want to go into this. Well, this might be true, the position might be drawn, but I'm on the back foot here, I'm struggling, and compared to white's other option, after queen to d7 check, what happened in the game, it's a much better option. I mean, I played bishop to b6 here, and now I'm just completely winning. I mean, this is a move I should have played originally. I mean, the game finished rook to a1, queen to f4, rook to e1, bishop to c7, g3, quite complicated, but I'm just going to get through. I mean, I played the simplest line. I decided to swap the queens off and put my rook on f7, and I'm completely winning here. There's no escape. I mean, white played, I mean, my plan here is to go bishop to g4 check and rook to f2 and mate. The game finished rook to c1, bishop to e3, rook to e1, bishop d4, rook to a3. All I'm doing here, I'm just chasing white's rooks about until they reach some bad squares, and after my next move, bishop to c5, rook to a1, I've forced the gain of a tempo now, and the game finished bishop to g4 check, king to g2, rook to f2 check, and J.Rowson resigned here as he's going to run into mate. For example, king to g1, rook to d2 check, and now wherever the king moves, I move my bishop with checkmate. So quite a pleasing game, quite a complicated game. I mean, even at the end there, I mean, you can see around the time control, we both made a number of mistakes. I mean, I gave my opponent a chance to move 39 to come right back into the game, with at least probably a draw there. I shouldn't have repeated the position there. I was playing a bit too Russian-like, you know, where you repeat the positions, it's supposed to help you, but not in that case. Repeat the position, it might just lose it for me. But still, an interesting game, and obviously I was very happy with that result. It's sort of a good fight in the King's Indian, really. Okay, cheers for that. We'll come back to another King's Indian shortly.